Weight loss does not start with healthy eating or exercise. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why you've been struggling and how you can finally break free. My name is Carlo DeSalvo. I'm a behavior change specialist and a master of hypnosis. And over the years, I've helped my clients lose 10, 20, 30, even 40 pounds in a period of 12 weeks. And the best part is they kept the weight off or they kept going. Now, I'm going to show you in this video how your identity and your stories are what's actually shaping your life. Now, most people that I meet are trying to change their physical reality with physical actions. It does make sense that you should start with taking physical actions because you look at the world around you and everything is physical. So you obviously think that taking physical actions are the only way to create lasting change. Well, let me tell you that that is actually backwards. That's going from the outside in when you really need to be going from the inside out. Picture this. If you were to build a house, is the first place you would start would be the shingles on the roof? Putting the shingles on the roof? Probably not. You would start with the foundation. Building the foundation is the first part to building your new home. Then you would start with the framing, then the walls, then the roof, and then finally the shingles. So the shingles are essentially your behaviors and your actions. You do need them, but they are not the first step in this process. Now, I'm going to show you a diagram right now to illustrate this for you. In the center of the diagram, you have your identity. Your identity is your inner beliefs about who you are, the concept of self. Now, maybe you believe that you're not consistent. You're not somebody with discipline. You have no motivation. Maybe you believe you have bad genetics and everyone in my family is overweight. Or maybe you believe that you're just too old. Now, that identity in the center is going to directly affect the next layer. And the next layer is the stories that you tell yourself. So maybe if your core identity is, I'm too old, then you're going to say to yourself, well, I'm just too tired after work, or I'm just too tired after doing everything in my day. You just don't like going to the gym. You don't want to do it. Whatever it is, you're always going to have a story that's going to reaffirm who your identity is, because your core identity of who you are is going to try to protect its existence. It does not want to change. And the final layer after the stories is going to be your behaviors and your actions. That's why when you try to take new behaviors and actions that aren't aligned with the core identity, it will not match up and it will not hold. Your identity must match your stories, and that will match your current actions and your sustained actions. So if the stories that you tell yourself is, it's just so hard for me. I have so many responsibilities. I don't have time. Nobody in my family is fit. So, I just have bad genetics. My metabolism is slow. You're going to continue to reaffirm that to yourself. You have an area in your brain called the RAS, the reticular activating system. Your brain is exposed to 11 million bits of information per second, but your conscious mind is only aware of around 50 bits of information per second. So the RAS is a filtering system. It will continue to filter reality to affirm your stories back to you, so that way you can reaffirm who your identity is, your self-concept. Now, here's the good news. You can actually change that from the inside out. It does take some work. You currently are programmed. Your brain is a supercomputer. Computers can be programmed. You were programmed, so you can be reprogrammed. So the first step to reprogramming yourself is to decide who you want to be. Who do you want to be? Once you decide who you want to be, the kind of person that you act like, the kind of person that you want to identify with, I'm sure if you really think about it, it will make you proud. It's about the person that you become on the journey. Then we move into the second step, which is visualization and emotion. Visualization and emotion. You can do this simply by meditating, getting yourself into a relaxed state, and visualizing the new life, visualizing the actions that you take. And then once you do that, bring in emotions. Now, the most powerful way to do this really is hypnosis. Hypnosis puts you into a state of the theta brainwave frequency. When that happens, there's an area in your brain called the default mode network. The default mode network is essentially who you believe you are. Once that shuts down, then you can access the deep parts of your brain where you can do the reprogramming. And that's deep down in the mammalian brain. And the mammalian brain learns just like an animal. And an animal doesn't necessarily understand language, but it does understand visual patterns and it does understand emotion. So hypnosis is the fastest way to do that. And then finally, the last step is to take actions. And here's a tool that I want to share with you that I used years ago. It's called the Critical Six. The Critical Six is also known as the Ivy Lee method. The Ivy Lee method was a man named Ivy Lee who went to go see Charles M. Schwab. He was a steel giant working in the steel industry during the Industrial Revolution. He went into Charles M. Schwab's office and then said to Charles, I am a consultant and I'd like to sell you my services. And Charles wasn't buying. And he said, well, okay, I've got a simple tool for you. You use it for 30 days and tell me if it was effective for you, and you mail me a check for whatever you think it's worth. So he said, okay, fine. What is it? And he says, it's the Critical Six. Have your staff and yourself write down the 6 most important things that you must complete today in order to move you closer to your goals. Start with the most important and then work your way down. Do that every day. So, you know what I did? I adopted that method. Number 1 on my list every day was to do my inner work, the visualizations and the hypnosis sessions. And then number 2 was to exercise. And I did that every single day through repetition, and my life changed. So you can do the same thing. It holds you accountable, writing down your intention and then following your Critical Six. You can fill in the rest of the Critical Six with other important things that you have to do with your day. Use that tool. It's super effective. Oh, and I should add that Charles M. Schwab sent Ivy Lee a check for $25,000 to show him just how grateful he was and how effective it was. Charles Schwab enclosed a letter and said that was the most effective tool that anyone has ever shown him. $25,000 in a day where most people was making $2 a day. Now, if this way of thinking resonated with you, I'd like you to subscribe to the channel and join me, because this channel is all about mindset and change from the inside out. And I also have a free resource for you down in the description. It's called the Habit Breakdown Matrix. You can download the Habit Breakdown Matrix, and it's going to help you identify the triggers and the behaviors that are keeping you stuck. Because real change doesn't start by forcing better habits. It starts by changing your identity from the inside out.